the mirror within. Self-reflection is your superpower. Hello, beautiful souls. I am here today to share something that could completely transform your life, as it has done for many others. You know that feeling when you're rushing through life, reacting to everything around you, feeling like you're constantly being pulled in different directions, like you're living your life on autopilot. What if I told you there's a simple practice that could change all of that? A practice that could help you feel more centered, make better decisions, and create the life you actually want to live. Today, we're diving deep into the transformative power of self-reflection. So, self-reflection is like creating a sacred pause in your life. It's that beautiful space between what happens to you and how you respond to it. Think about it. How often do you actually stop to examine your thoughts, your emotions, your behaviors? Most of us are so caught up in the doing that we forget about the be. But here's the magic. When you create this space for reflection, you're no longer just carried along by life's current. You become the conscious observer of your own experience. You step back and look at your life with fresh eyes, with curiosity instead of judgment. Imagine watching your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky, acknowledging them, understanding them, but not being consumed by them. This is what self-reflection offers you. One of the most beautiful gifts of self-reflection is pattern recognition. We all have patterns. Some that serve us, and some that don't. Maybe you notice that you feel anxious every Sunday night, or perhaps you realize you avoid difficult conversations even when they're necessary. Maybe you discover that you're your own worst critic, speaking to yourself in ways you'd never speak to a friend. These patterns aren't your faults. They're often protective mechanisms you've developed long ago. But once you see them clearly, you have the power to change them. I remember discovering my own pattern of saying yes to everything, then feeling overwhelmed and resentful. Through reflection, I realized I was afraid of disappointing people. That awareness was the first step toward learning to set healthy boundaries. Your patterns are like threads in a tapestry. When you can see the whole picture, you can decide which threads to keep weaving and which ones to gently let go. Self-reflection is like having an internal compass that always points toward your true north. It helps you understand your deepest values, your authentic motivations, and what truly matters to you. When you know yourself this deeply, instead of asking, "What should I do?" you start asking what feels aligned with who I really am. This awareness extends to your relationships too. You begin to understand not just what you need from others, but what you bring to every interaction. You become conscious of your communication style, your boundaries, your emotional triggers. I've seen people transform their entire lives simply by getting clear on their values. Through reflection, they left jobs that drained them, ended relationships that weren't serving them, and started pursuing dreams they'd buried under years of shoulds. Your authentic self is always there, waiting to be discovered. Self-reflection is simply the practice of coming home to who you really are. Without reflection, our experiences are just events that happen to us. But with reflection, every experience becomes a teacher. Think about your biggest challenges, the relationships that didn't work out, the dreams that didn't unfold as planned, the moments when you felt completely lost. These weren't just random difficulties. They were opportunities for growth, wisdom, and so. But here's the thing. The lesson isn't automatic. You have to be willing to sit with your experiences, to ask yourself the difficult questions. What did this teach me? How did I grow? What would I do differently? What am I grateful for, even in this pain? Some of my deepest wisdom has come from my most difficult moments, but only because I was willing to reflect, to find meaning, to extract the gold from what felt like darkness. Your life is constantly offering you lessons. Self-reflection is how you receive them. Here's something beautiful that happens when you practice regular self-reflection and develop emotional mastery. Not control, but mastery. You start to recognize your emotional patterns. You notice that you get defensive when you feel criticized, or that you withdraw when you're overwhelmed. This awareness gives you choice. Instead of being blindsided by anger or consumed by sadness, you can recognize these feelings as they arise. You can say, "Oh, there's that familiar anxiety. I know this feeling. I can breathe through this." This doesn't mean you don't feel deeply. Quite the opposite, in fact. It means you feel fully while maintaining your center. You become like a deep lake. The surface might have waves, but the depths remain calm and clear. Let me be honest with you about something. Self-reflection isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it reveals things about ourselves we'd rather not see. Limiting beliefs we've been carrying, ways we've been holding ourselves back, patterns that no longer serve us. But beautiful soul, this discomfort is where the magic happens. It's where growth lives. It's where transformation begins. When you're willing to face these uncomfortable truths with compassion, not judgment, but loving awareness, you give yourself the gift of choice. You can't change what you can't see, but once you see it clearly, change becomes possible. Remember, you're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be real. You're trying to be whole. And that requires embracing all parts of yourself with love. So, how do you begin? Start small. Maybe it's 5 minutes of journaling each morning. Maybe it's a weekly walk where you check in with yourself. Maybe it's simply asking yourself before bed, what did I learn about myself today? The method doesn't matter as much as the consistency. What matters is that you're willing to turn inward with curiosity and compassion. Remember, self-reflection is not self-absorbed. It's the practice of becoming the conscious author of your own life story. You have everything you need within you. You always have. Self-reflection is simply the way you remember who you really are. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is my heart trying to tell me today? Listen, trust, and begin. Thank you for joining me on this journey inward. Until next time, keep shining your beautiful light. And finally, remember this inspirational quote from Carl Rogers. The curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change.